some ball against him.
Yes, it will. And playing to the scouting report right there, Buck Showalter. Snell's ready to go. The left-hand hitting Brandon Nimmo, the Mets center fielder, will lead off. Blake is ready. His fourth start of the season begins with a fastball strike on the outside corner at 95 miles an hour. First pitch of the game brought to you by MTS. Taking the trolley is the easy way to get to Petco Park all season long. Get on board at sdmts.com today. Here's the 0-1 to Nimmo, another fastball, this time a little bit too far off the plate. And the count goes to 1-1. Nimmo had a dicey hit-by-pitch yesterday in their win over the Dodgers in Los Angeles. They weren't entirely sure whether he'd be able to play today, but obviously good news for the Mets that he's in there. Nimmo, one of those on-base guys. Even when he's not getting hits, he's getting on base one way or the other. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Snell. It's fouled straight back, 1-2. He was 2 for 15 in their series against the Dodgers, which was a 4-game split. They lost the first 2 games before winning the last 2. Yesterday, a wild one in extra innings. And I think both of these teams kind of coming into this series feeling very similar about themselves. The Mets with what is being joked about as the greatest 4-game split in franchise history. And the Padres, as we joked about, perhaps the greatest 3-4 road trip in franchise history. 1-2 hit in the air, foul down the left field line. Sounds weird, but certainly the way you end a trip or a series can change the way you feel about it, even if the results on paper are perhaps suboptimal.
No question about it, Jess, and I think both of these teams were also looking at the next team that were playing. The Padres obviously know the Mets are playing some good baseball. The Mets respect the Padres, and so both teams wanted to come into this with a little positive momentum.
1-2 to Nimmo with Marte and Lindor to follow. Quite a top 3 against Blake Snell, who deals. And the pitch spoiled foul back out of play. It'll stay 1 ball and 2 strikes to the 29-year-old from Cheyenne, Wyoming, Brandon Nimmo.
I'm loving what we're seeing so far out of Blake Snell. He is going right after him with fastballs, 95 to 97 miles an hour, both sides of the plate. I think Blake Snell's fastball is one of the most underrated pitches in baseball. When he stays on top of it, he has tilt, he has angle, he has velocity. And a lot of times he has command. When he has all that, look out.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Nimmo out in front, tips it foul, and Alfaro, the catcher, couldn't hold on to it. So again, it'll be a ball and 2 strikes. Quite a battle now. 6-pitch at bat brewing here between these 2 guys. And for Blake, the key, as you were just saying, basically, is if he can command the fastball and throw strikes with it. The other stuff is so electric. He'll be able to take care of business. Loves his changeup, even though it was in timeout most of last year. Slider, another great secondary offering. Another 1-2 way up and in at 96, and that'll move Nimmo out of the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to the New York leadoff hitter.
Nothing wrong with a little up and in, Jesse, especially early in the ballgame. Whether it's by design or by accident, that's the type of pitch that an entire dugout will take notice of.
Padres in their home white pinstripe uniforms. Mets in their traditional road grays. Snell again on now 2-2, and a breaking ball hit right back up the middle. It'll be the shortstop. Ha-Sung Kim behind the bag at second base. His throw to first is in time. And a great battle there between Snell and Nimmo, but it ends with a ground out. 1 away in the top half of inning number 1.
It'll be interesting to keep an eye on Blake Snell tonight. Obviously, we just talked about the fastball usage, but I like what you brought up also, Jesse, in terms of the changeup. Now, that was a pitch that really he had to put on the shelf last year, but in his last outing, it was one of his go-to pitches. His first 2 outings, the slider was the primary breaking pitch that he went to, but in the last outing was the curveball. We saw a lot of changeups being thrown as well, 17 of them, 14 for strikes. That is a really good sign that the changeup is back.
Here's Starling Marte, big, strong, right-handed hitter. Hit a home run yesterday off of Julio Urias, a left-handed pitcher. Swings at the first pitch and pops it up down the right field line. Hosmer back into foul territory over by the side wall. Won't have a play. About 2 rows up and into the seats. Strike 1 on Starling Marte. And it was the slider, as you said, that gave Blake a little bit of trouble in his last start against the Cardinals. I believe the word he used to describe the slider that day against the Cards was duty. His slider was duty.
He comes up with some great descriptions, doesn't he?
0-1 to Marte. Hard hit line drive over Kim into left field and a base hit. 1 out single for the Met right fielder. And in business here in the top of the first inning. It was clear and warm all day today, but a little bit of June gloom has come in as the evening has progressed. Game time temperature 64 degrees, brought to you by HES Solar, the official solar company of the Padres radio network. HES Solar, powered by the sun since 2001. Here's the switch hitting shortstop, Francisco Lindor, in his second year as a Met. Last year when Blake started against these guys here at Petco, he took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. Lindor broke it up with a leadoff single. From the right side against Blake, who will throw to first base. Marte, one of the best stolen base guys in baseball the last few years, goes back standing up. That was not the A move from Blake Snell. Marte this season, 7 out of 11. A year ago, he stole 47 bases and was caught only 4 times between Miami and Oakland. Snell, long look into Alfaro. Lindor just waiting in the right-handed batter's box. Like Manny, looks so nonchalant. Now the first pitch of the at-bat, and it's outside. 1 ball, no strikes. It's like a changeup against Lindor to get this thing started. From their American League days, a fair amount of history between Snell, the former Ray, and Lindor, who played in Cleveland. And Francisco 2 out of 20 against Blake in his career. One of those hits, though, was the single last season to break up the no-hitter. Throw to first again, and Marte once more gets back standing up without a tag. Padres coming off an exciting 6-4 win in Milwaukee, 10 innings yesterday. Clevenger and Martinez, great work. Marte runs, pitch is a strike. Throw from Alfaro is on target, but not in time. Good throw, good tag, but a better jump for Starling Marte in his 8th stolen base of the year.
Alfaro really had no chance to get him, Jesse. He was going on first movement. As soon as Blake Snell started to lift his leg off, he took off. Great crossover step, and not much you could do in that situation.
You just hope that he overslides, and Cronenworth did a good job of keeping the tag on Marte just in case, but he maintained contact with the bag the whole time. So he's now 8 out of 12, and a runner in scoring position for Lindor. 1 out, scoreless game in the top of the first inning. So the Mets threatening immediately here. They have been hitting like crazy this season. They got the best record in the National League at 37-19. They've won 8 out of 10. Pitch on the way, and Lindor takes outside. Another changeup. 2 balls in his strike. They've got the best team batting average in all of baseball, and with runners in scoring position, even better. They're hitting .291 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive to say the least. But what's interesting is they're not doing it with much power. They're doing exactly what you just described, Jesse. They're getting their base hits, not trying to get too greedy with runners in scoring position.
Marte at second, 1 out, 2-1 to Lindor. Time called at the plate.
You know, that's a little bit more dangerous for me as an opposing pitcher as I'm watching a lineup and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do I need to do to get out of these jams? And so often hitters try to do too much with runners on base, and as pitchers, that's what we're trying to take advantage of, their over-aggressiveness to try to drive in those runs. But the Mets, they've shown a lot of patience, and they don't get greedy. That's very dangerous.
Here's the 2-1 pitch to Lindor. He takes, and that fastball hits the inside corner. A strike, 2-2. Even their big bopper, who's on deck, Pete Alonso, with his 16 home runs, he's become something of a more complete hitter. Not trying to do too much. The power is there. He'll get his homers, but all of a sudden he's a guy that can go the other way for a base hit if he needs to. 2-2 to Lindor. Runner on second, 1 out, top of the first inning. Snell will spin around, watch Marte back. We saw something in that game against the Brewers yesterday, as rare as a lunar eclipse. Eric Lauer was called for a balk. It's very exciting.
I think they got him on the foot passing the rubber.
Yes.
It kind of looked like,
didn't exactly it? Right, yeah. It was actually a black and white one as opposed to most balks. 2-2. And the pitch to Lindor is taken down and in, ball 3.
Well, Marte not happy with himself right there. He's getting a great secondary league, and he's bouncing off. I thought Blake might actually step off in that situation, but Blake looked at him and waited until Marte actually changed his direction, which is fine. He got him to take a couple of steps back towards the base. But then on the breaking ball, Marte was shaking his head afterwards as though to say, I should have known a breaking ball was going down low. That was an opportunity to try to take third.
So 3-2 to Lindor. Marte is still at second base. 1 out, no score in the top of the first inning. And while Snell has thrown only 15 pitches, he's having to work hard here. And that's part of the deal against a lineup like this. You have to face a Marte and a Lindor and an Alonso back to back to back. It's not going to be easy. A long pause, and eventually Lindor just asks for time.
Part of it's because we know that Blake takes his time, but the other thing is Marte is just being such a distraction out at second base. You have to pay attention to him.
They are using pitch comm, so you don't have to worry about Marte seeing anything. Alfaro has the keypad on top of his right knee. He's shielding it with his catcher's mitt while typing in the keypad combination. Runner on second, 1 out in the first inning. Scoreless against the Mets. Lindor waiting. And now the 3-2 from Snell. Swung on and missed. Ball in the dirt. Alfaro will pick it up. Check Marte. Throw down to first base in time. That completes the strikeout. And 2 down here in the first inning. Marte still at second base.
What was the word that he used to describe his slider last game, Jesse?
Duty.
Duty. Okay, that one was not duty, I promise you. That was a good, hard Blake Snell slider that we're accustomed to seeing. And after throwing fastballs at 96 miles an hour with that same downward tilt, there's no way that Lindor can lay off of that pitch on the 3-2 count. Excellent execution by Blake Snell on that slider.
I like how you made me say it. Mets cleanup hitter brought to you by Soapy Joe's. Join Soapy Joe's Wash Club today to receive unlimited washes. Visit SoapyJoesCarWash.com. So here's Alonso with Marte at second, 2 outs, trying to keep it scoreless in the top of the first inning. Snell will kick and deal, and the first pitch swung on and missed. Good curveball that time from Snell, and strike 1 to Alonso, who's off to a great start this year, hitting .283 with 16 homers and 54 RBIs. Tied for the most home runs in the league, more runs batted in than anybody else in baseball. Now that we're a third of the way through the season, we can say guys are on pace for certain things without laughing too hard about it. He's on pace to drive in 156 runs. 0-1 pitch taken in the dirt, and 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he's been one of their hottest hitters of late also, Jesse. 8 home runs, 25 RBIs in the last 18 games, and had a nice series against the Dodgers. This is not the guy that you want to let beat you. Not surprised to see that he's getting a steady diet of curveballs down low out of the strike zone so far.
RBI double to tie their game in L.A. in the 8th inning yesterday. He had 5 hits in their series against the Dodgers, including a pair of home runs in the Saturday game in L.A. Bats here with Marte at second. 1-1 to Pete Alonso. Snell, long look back at second base. Now the pitch, and the fastball's a little bit high, maybe inside. 2 balls and a strike to the Met DH. Pete Alonso normally plays first. Legged off his feet a little bit today. In his familiar cleanup position, he has cleaned up every single game for the Mets this year, now all 57. Snell comes set and ready with Marte at second base. 2 balls and a strike. Here's the pitch and a fastball high, 3-1. Alonso, Rookie of the Year in the National League back in 2019 when he had 53 home runs to shatter the Mets single season record and lead all of Major League Baseball. Won the Home Run Derby as a rookie that year as well. Won it again last season. Ken Griffey Jr., the only guy to win the Derby 3 times. 3-1 to Alonso with first base open. Marte dancing at second base. Snell will kick and fire, and the pitch is inside, ball 4. 97-mile-an-hour fastball. And Scans, I think you had it exactly right when you said that's just not the guy you want to beat you at this point in time.
No, and I like the way that they worked him right there. They went 2 curveballs down low. They got him to swing at the first one, and then they try to elevate. That's the one spot that you can kind of go with some safety is up in the zone against Alonso. He's really good at the fastball down. And didn't get him to chase up there. Not a problem. Let's try a fastball in off the plate. If we miss with it, let's miss in. Not a bad way to walk him.
Now a 21-pitch inning for Blake Snell as he starts over against the former Athletic Mark Canha, part of the great Oakland A migration of 2021 and 2022. Bob Melvin, of course, the head of that flock. Canha, right-handed hitter, starting in left field. 2 on and 2 out, scoreless in the top of the first inning. Snell's first pitch to him is a fastball strike on the inside edge at 96-0-1. Balls and strikes tonight being called by the Escondido native, Mark Ripperger. Phil Cuzzy is the first base umpire. Malachi Moore a fill-in at second base. And crew chief Tom Hallion is over at third. Game 1 of a 3-game series between the Padres and the New York Mets. Alonso at first, Marte at second, 2 outs. And Snell looked like he was about ready to go, just stepped off the rubber there, took a big deep breath, and now resets. 0-1 on Canha, hitting .297 on the season. And he takes down the middle at 95. That's a strike, 0-2.
2 really well-executed fastballs by Blake Snell. The 96-mile-an-hour fastball at the knees on the inside corner for strike 1. That went a little bit more middle than he wanted, but the fact that he kept it down, and as mentioned earlier, has such great downward tilt on that pitch. Still not much that Canha can do with it.
Got to be careful against this guy, even with 2 strikes, if for no other reason than he is expert at being hit by a pitch. In fact, this entire Met team is good at that, but he was the leader in baseball last year along with Ty France. 0-2 down and in, and he did not get out of the way as that one just bounced between his feet. And the count now a ball and 2 strikes.
Oh, he was ready to take it right off the foot of the shin, wasn't he, Jess?
Almost made me sound very smart. Yeah, Canna last year, 27 hit by pitch. Playing for Bob Melvin in Oakland, tied with Ty France for the Major League lead, and it was an Oakland A record. Bay Area native, Canna played at Cal, as Bob Melvin did, and an Oakland A. Now about as far away from the Bay Area as you can be in Major League Baseball. Flushing, Queens. 1-2 to Canna. Snell will kick and deal, and the pitch way high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Canna at Cal, by the way, was an econ major.
Well, I saw he and Bob were talking in the outfield before batting practice today, so they were probably talking about a lot of things, no Cal, and maybe finance also, huh?
They got a lot to talk about. You could tell the respect that Bob had from those Oakland guys from the last few years. And everywhere we see them now, there's always a meeting like that. 2-2 to Canna. The pitch is taken low, somehow laid off a pretty good-looking curveball. And it's now full, 3-2. As Blake Snell's pitch count continues to rise here in the first inning. He's now at 26, 14 strikes and 12 balls. Runners will go on 3-2. Alonso from first and Marte from second. Blake standing tall on the mound. Now he'll kick. And the pitch to Canna is taken low, ball 4. The bases are loaded. And first baseman J.D. Davis coming up after back-to-back 2-out walks. Before Davis bats, we will pause 10 seconds precisely for station identification on the Padres Radio Network.
KWFN-FM and KWFN HD1 San Diego, an Odyssey station.
This is Eric Hosmer. You're listening to Padres Baseball on the Padres Radio Network.
With Bob Scanlon and our producer-engineer Dave Marcus, I'm Jesse Agler. First inning at Petco Park in New York. Petco Park in San Diego. The Met fans trying to make some noise, being drowned out by boos. Bases loaded, 2 outs. J.D. Davis, who won the game in extras for the Mets yesterday, at the plate. First pitch from Snell. A late swing and a ground ball towards the Padre dugout, 0-1.
Blake's doing a nice job of getting ahead with that fastball. Really well located also. They're not just getting me over fastballs. He's hitting corners with that pitch at 96 miles an hour. And really, that last walk hurt, Jesse. You're ahead 0-2 to put him away, and all of a sudden you got a bases-loaded situation. And the pitch count continuing to rise. Hopefully he can get a quick out and put an end to this rally right here.
No balls and a strike on Davis, getting a rare start at first base tonight. He swings and misses, and he's in an 0-2 hole. How rare? It's the first time he's going to play first base since he was an Astro in 2018. They wanted to get Alonso off their feet as part of this long road trip. Davis, an RBI double off of Craig Kimbrell in the 10th inning yesterday at Dodger Stadium, the difference in their game. He is their usual designated hitter. He's played a little bit of third base as well. We'll see how his defense looks at first base here tonight. Bases loaded, 2 down. Snell in front, 0-2. 30th pitch of the inning coming, and Alonso off their feet as part of this long road trip. Davis, an RBI double off of Craig Kimbrell in the 10th inning yesterday at Dodger Stadium, the difference in their game. He is their usual designated hitter. He's played a little bit of third base as well. We'll see how his defense looks at first base here tonight. Bases loaded, 2 down. Snell in front, 0-2. 30th pitch of the inning coming, and a foul ball straight back to the net. It'll stay no balls and 2 strikes. Blake is not on a pitch count, by the way, in regards to any kind of limitation. Not that they're going to let him throw 130 pitches, I don't imagine, but, you know, there's nothing in his 4th start off the IL. They would prevent him from going a normal distance in this game if he's able to do so. But obviously the more pitches he's got to throw here early will shrink what he's got left the rest of the way. Bases loaded, 2 outs. 0-2 to J.D. Davis. Blake will kick and deal. And the pitch way high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Certainly from a Padre perspective, you would hope this is one of those deals that, hey, if the Mets are going to get to him, this is their chance, and that he settles in the second inning and beyond. Got Canna at first, Alonso at second, Marte at third with 2 down. Long look into Alfaro. Now Snell is set. And the 1-2 pitch to Davis is again fouled back to the net.
Sticking with the heater, Jesse. He's not shown that he's able to catch up with it so far, but that swing was a little bit better on the fastball, and you have to wonder now if Blake and Alfaro are thinking, okay, we've sped up his bat enough. Now it's time to go with something off speed down and see if we can get him to swing over the top.
Davis hitting .247 this year with a homer and 6 doubles. .371 average in his last 10 games. The big hit yesterday for them in L.A. Now the 1-2 from Snell, and Davis takes the curveball outside. 2-2 to J.D. Davis. And again for Blake here, these last couple of at-bats, he's had no problem getting ahead, but he has had trouble finishing the job. Now 18 strikes, 15 balls here in the first inning. Mets with the bases loaded, 2 down. Top half inning number 1, and for the moment, still scoreless. Davis, the right-handed batter, waiting. Now Blake is ready. And the 2-2 pitch is another curveball, this time in the dirt. Blocked by Alfaro, and the count is full.
Not getting the swings and misses at that breaking pitch that he's hoping for the last 2 batters, Jesse.
Runners will go on 3 and 2. Canna from first, Alonso from second, and Marte from third base. Snell just trying to work a Houdini act here with his 35th pitch of the opening inning. Davis waits. Blake ready. And the 3-2 offering is hit in the air foul, upper deck above the Padre dugout. 97 on that fastball from Snell, looking for a little bit extra. But Davis able to spoil it away. Meanwhile, Nabil Crismatt is starting to not throw in the Padre bullpen, but loosen up his arm. Crismatt came up through the Mets system before debuting in the big leagues with the Cardinals 2 years ago. 3-2 to J.D. Davis once again. Bases loaded, 2 outs. There go the runners, and the pitch is high, ball 4. 3 consecutive walks for Blake Snell, this one with the bases loaded, and the Mets take a 1-0 lead in the first.
Very frustrating for Blake Snell right now. As we mentioned, Jesse did a nice job of getting the first 2 of the 3 batters out. He retired Lindor on strikes. Understandably pitched around Pete Alonso with the base open with 2 outs, but now you get ahead of Canna and Davis both on 0-2 counts and unable to put them away. They really weren't going after the breaking pitches. He was getting ahead with fastballs. They weren't getting good swings on him, and you understand, you're thinking, okay, I've got him set up for the breaking pitch, but credit to the Mets. They didn't chase one of his 2-strike breaking balls that he threw. And then he was unable to locate the fastball to finish him off on the 3-2 pitches.
And now Crismatt is throwing in the Padre bullpen. First inning at Petco. The Mets have a 1-0 lead. They've still got the bases loaded. And the former Diamondback switch hitter Eduardo Escobar coming up. 7th man to bat here in a first inning that has seen Snell throw 35 pitches. And, I mean, even if Blake can get out of this, and even if he can settle in, the pitch count this inning probably means, best case scenario, 4 innings tonight?
I'm thinking if I'm Bob Melvin right now, you've got to already start anticipating, okay, how am I going to use my bullpen? Because to your point, Jesse, it's not just the number of pitches, it's the exponential wear and tear that it takes out of you throwing them all in 1 inning.
Switch hitter batting right-handed. Escobar swings through a fastball, strike 1. 33-year-old and all-star for the first time last year as a Diamondback, then traded to the Brewers just before the deadline. Mets made him part of their winter spending spree, signed him in free agency on December 1st. His 4th career 20 home run season a year ago. He's got 4 this year. 0-1 from Snell, and Escobar takes a fastball high, 1-1. Alonso at third, Canna at second, Davis at first. 1-0 Mets with the bases loaded, 2 outs in inning number 1. 39th pitch coming from Snell. And it's reached for, poked out to the right side, past the diving Cronenworth into right field. Alonso has scored. Canna's coming in right behind him. It's a 2-run single for Eduardo Escobar and a 3-0 lead for the Mets in the first.
Change-up and out over the plate. We haven't seen very many change-ups from Blake so far tonight. And the previous batters, as we mentioned, had been mostly curveballs and some sliders that he went to try to finish off the Mets. But this is exactly what we were talking about earlier in the inning in terms of the Mets not trying to get too greedy. You've got a bases-loaded situation. He gets a change-up and out over. And by the swing on it, hitting it opposite field, you can tell they are just thinking about trying to hit something up the middle, something opposite field, not trying to get too greedy. What happens? You get the base hit and runs crossing the plate. Good disciplined approach, Jess.
Escobar now with 20 runs batted in on the season. Runners on the corners, 2 down. Jeff McNeil, the number 8 batter, and a left-handed hitter coming up against Snell. And quite frankly, if McNeil were a right-handed hitter, I don't know if Blake would be out there right now. Chris Matt continues to warm in the bullpen. Might be his last chance to get out of this first inning. 40th pitch of the night on the way, and a swing and a miss. 0-1 on McNeil, who, by the way, even though he's hitting 8, is their leading hitter. A .311 batting average, 4th best in the National League. He has an old-school approach at the plate. Contact first for Jeff McNeil. He uses a knobless bat, and he chokes way up. Runners take their leads at first and third. Here's the 0-1 from Snell, lefty to lefty, and another swing and a miss, strike 2.
98 miles an hour. He still has some velo in the tank. Boy, that is a 1940s look at the plate, isn't it? Choking up on that stick.
.311 average, 3 homers, 13 doubles, and a triple. Waiting on the 0-2 from Blake. Here it is, and in the air down the left field line. That'll be foul out of play. He's the exact kind of guy that is just impossible to get rid of, even if you're ahead 0-2, and that's the challenge that Blake's going to have here.
Which is the last thing that he needs right now, but he's got to find a way to get it out and try to stay in this ball game and keep it close.
For the moment, 3-0 Mets. McNeil, the 8th man to bat here in the top of the first inning. Couple of hits and 3 walks from Blake Snell. Here's the 0-2 again. McNeil, ground ball up the middle. That should do it. Kim's got it at shortstop. Throw to first base is in time, and the side is retired. Damage done, though. Blake Snell has to throw over 40 pitches here in the first inning. Mets score 3 runs on 2 hits. They also leave men at the corners. And with the Padres coming up against Carlos Carrasco, it's New York 3, San Diego 0 on the Padres Radio Network.
He would mature as a ball player once he got around pro ball and was able to play every day. 2 balls, 2 strikes the pitch. Breaking ball grounded up the middle to the left of Kim, the shortstop, who gobbles it up, fires it to Hosmer. And the first out recorded here tonight on a ground out off the bat of Brandon Nimmo. And as Nimmo himself said earlier today, yeah, it's easy to say that now. Things have worked out pretty nicely. There was some doubt back then when Brandon was drafted by the Mets 11 years ago today. So 1 out, nobody on. Starling Marte, the batter. Little hug for Jorge Alfaro, his former teammate with the Marlins. Alfaro now with San Diego. And Marte now a Met, as Nimmo stops at the on-deck circle and fills in Lindor on what he just saw from Blake Snell. We've seen the Mets do that, communicate their at-bats to others all season. First pitch to Marte. Fastball lifted toward the right field line. Hosmer giving chase toward the sidewall. It's out of play. No balls and 1 strike on Starling Marte. The Padres with their brown pinstripes, wearing brown caps and brown bills. The gold SD on the front of the cap. Brown letters, Padres across the front in print outline in that gold with the brown numbers and letters on the backs. This is what the San Diego Padres are supposed to look like. Not blue, brown. And Brown has been back for the last few years, and it looks great. The 0-1. Marte lines one to left, a base hit. 1 out single, a clean knock for Starling Marte. And the Mets have their first hit of the game, which is brought to you by Health First, proud wellness partner of the New York Mets. One out, one on. Francisco Lindor will be the batter now. Starling Marte in his career here at Petco Park has really not played all that well. Just a 196 lifetime average in this place. Buck Showalter said before the game, the players know where they do and don't do in certain ballparks. And Marte has not done well here, but a base hit, the first Mets hit of this game. As Snell throws to first, chasing back Marte standing up. Marte has 7 stolen bases this year. He's been caught 4 times. The Mets have a man on for Lindor, who has driven in 45 runs now this year. He reached that number last season on September 7th. He had that great September last year, which pushed him up towards 60 RBIs for the season. Snell a high set, first pitch. Lindor takes outside, ball 1. Francisco batting right-handed against the lefty Blake Snell, who's in his 4th game this year. The results have been uneven, although he has not given up many base hits. Walks have gotten him into trouble. Opponents have only hit 157 against Snell. He's walked 8 in 15 innings. He can be wild. Throw to first as Marte goes back standing up. Last year, Snell walked a career-high 69 hitters in his 27 starts for the Padres. The end of his season was cut short last year, had a groin injury. But he finished 3rd in the league in walks. Marte's running the pitch to Lindor's a strike, and Marte's at second safely with a stolen base. Alfaro's got a great arm, but Marte had a huge jump. Snell tends to come home with a big right leg kick, and Starling Marte took off on that very first move and just outran the throw from Jorge Alfaro. So it's the 8th steal for Marte this year, and the Mets have a man in scoring position with 1 out. Count on Lindor is 1 ball, 1 strike. Outfield is mostly straight away. Profar pretty deep in left. Infield pulled to the left side. Cronenworth holding Marte at second. Snell ready, a shoulder high set his pitch. And the changeup missed outside. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Really for Snell so far this year, the fastball has been normal. The slider's been good. His curveball's been all over the place. He has not been able to find any consistency with that pitch. His changeup tends to miss away to right-handers, like that one just did. 2 balls and a strike on Lindor. Snell a peek back to second, now taking his time as time is called. Lindor steps out of the box. We haven't seen Marte steal third base much this year, but he certainly will. He's quite capable as a base stealer. Over 300 in his major league career. He had 47 to lead the majors last year. 2 balls, 1 strike on Lindor. Pitch. Fastball strike, burns the inner half at 96. And it's 2 balls, 2 strikes on Francisco Lindor. Last season for Snell, the 27 starts, the 128 innings pitched, the 170 strikeouts, all the most since his Cy Young year. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Turn to second. Marte was just getting ready to dance his way toward third, and Snell stepped off. Cronenworth came in to field to throw if there was one, even though there was not. And it's 2 balls, 2 strikes on Francisco Lindor. Mets trying to strike first here in San Diego. No score, top of the first. Count 2 balls, 2 strikes on Lindor. Marte's got a huge lead. Now the pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt. Alfaro slides to his left to smother it. And it's a full count. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Lindor with Pete Alonso waiting on deck. Defensively, the Padres have Profar in left field, Grisham in center, and Nomar Mazara in right. Machado's at third, Kim's the shortstop, Cronenworth at second. Eric Hosmer still a Padre, he's at first. And Jorge Alfaro is behind the plate for Blake Snell tonight. Snell wearing a single-digit number, wearing number 4. He is not the only Padre who wears a single-digit number on the mound. We've got number 1, Mackenzie Gore. Mets will not see Gore, the rookie, in this series. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Snell is ready. Taking his time with Marte on second base, and now time is called again. Blake Snell really doing what he can to keep Starling Marte tied to second. Marte stealing that base after his one-out single, and Snell does not want him getting comfortable and heading to third here. Snell really laboring out there between pitches. Lindor steps out of the box again and takes a big swing outside the batter's box, and now digs back in on the right side. Count is 3 balls, 2 strikes on Lindor. Snell's pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Lindor takes off for first. Alfaro throws down and retires him. Marte stays at second. It was a back foot slider. Snell's go-to pitch. And Lindor chased after it. Would have been ball 4. Instead, it's the second out here in the top of the first inning. So 2 down. Marte still at second base. And Pete Alonso will be the batter. Alonso had a great series at Dodger Stadium, now with 16 home runs. The major league leader with 54 RBIs. His average at 283 for the year. That would be a career high. RBI chance here with Marte at second. 2 down in the first. Snell looks back towards second. Now deals. Breaking ball bounced in there, and Alonso chased after it. It's 0-1. That was the curve from Snell. Doesn't abandon that pitch. He still uses it almost as much as he used to. But he is just very inconsistent with the location of that pitch. That one was just bounced in the dirt. Sometimes it'll be up high. Sometimes he'll get it where he wants it. But it is not quite the go-to pitch it once was for Snell. At least not at the moment. No balls and a strike to pitch. There's the slider in the dirt. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike on Pete Alonso. So 2 outs. Marte at second. Mets trying to cash in an early scoring opportunity here. Outfield is playing Alonso pretty deep. Fairly bunched together out there as well. Good arm in center for Grisham. Mazara throws well in right also. 1 ball, 1 strike. Snell looked back to second base. Now the pitch. A little bit high with the fastball. Maybe a touch inside. 2 balls, 1 strike on Alonso. Pete did a lot of damage at Dodger Stadium. Hit 3 home runs. Drove in 7 over the 4-game series against the Dodgers. The Mets pulling out a series split with their win yesterday. 2-1 coming. Alonso takes high, ball 3. After the first few games seemed kind of one-sided. The Dodgers shut out the Mets in the first game. LA with a convincing win on Friday. Mets had a convincing win Saturday. And then yesterday was the October preview that everybody was expecting throughout that series. What a game it was at Dodger Stadium. 3 balls and a strike on Alonso here. Snell's pitch. Inside, ball 4. Alonso took a hesitant step toward first. Not quite sure that Mark Ripperger was going to call it the way he did. But it is ball 4. And then Alonso draws a 2-out walk. So the Mets have 2 on. And Mark Canha will be the batter.
Well, Snell got Alonso way out in front on that first pitch curveball that bounced in. Then threw 4 straight balls. One of them was a curve. Bounced in the second one, too. But it seemed like after that first pitch, he had Alonso in a good spot and then just got away from him.
Just doesn't trust that curveball right now because of the way it's been inconsistent. Alonso kind of bailed him out on that first one. Now Mark Canha stands in. Runners on first and second with 2 out. It's been a 21-pitch first inning here for Snell. And he has taken a lot of time between pitches on top of it. First pitch to Canha. Fastball strike on the inner third. And it's 0-1. Blake Snell, who came up in the Tampa Bay Rays system, was traded to San Diego following the 2020 season. Francisco Mejia, Luis Patino, and a couple of others went back to Tampa Bay. Snell said the trade made him really, really sad. He wanted to say goodbye to all the friends and people he had grown relationships with during his time with the Tampa Bay Rays. He said, poof, I was gone. Cross country to San Diego. The 0-1. Fastball hits the outside half of the plate for a strike. And it's 0-2 on Canha. Snell's last act as a Ray was pitching an outstanding game in Game 6 of the World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers, in which he struck out 9 in 5 1/3 innings, but was prematurely pulled by Kevin Cash. And the Rays quickly gave up some runs, ended up losing that game, and that was the end of that World Series. No balls and 2 strikes on Canha. The pitch in the dirt with a slider, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Blake Snell said he was just so shocked that Kevin Cash pulled him in that spot. He was cruising. The Dodgers have the top of their order coming up for a 3rd time. And the Rays, it's part of the way that they do things anyway. Don't have their starters go deep into games. So Kevin Cash went with their system. And it didn't pay off that night, as the Rays were unable to force a 7th game in that World Series, and they never had Blake Snell throw another pitch for them again. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Canha with 2 out, 2 on in the first. No score. Snell ready from a high set. Right leg kick. His pitch upstairs. Ball 2. That's the 25th pitch of the top of the first for Blake Snell. This is only his 4th start. The Padres have let him get a little bit loose, despite the fact that he missed over a month. They have let him get to 100 pitches already in 2 of his 3 starts, getting at least close the last time with 98, 104 in his 2nd start. So no training wheels here. The 2-2. Breaking ball is low, and it's a full count on Canha. 3-2. Even so, Bob Melvin does not want to see his starting pitcher tonight rack up this number of pitches in the 1st inning.
Well, at this rate, with already 26 pitches, he's not going to make it through 4 or 5. If he continues at this pace, that is.
Runners will go on a 3-2 pitch here. Marte will take off from second. Alonso from first. Count is 3 balls, 2 strikes on Mark Canha. Runners getting a head start. The payoff pitch. A little bit low. Ball 4. Second straight walk from Blake Snell. And now the bases are loaded for the Mets. Marte goes to third. Alonso to second base. Canha's aboard. And here's tonight's first baseman, J.D. Davis, with a window of opportunity. Presented by Window-Rama, the window replacement experts. Let your project be their passion from start to finish. Visit WindowRama.com to set up a free consultation. You can hear the Mets fans here. Such a well-traveling fan base. And they're already making some noise here at Petco Park. Bases loaded, 2 outs. 1st inning, no score. A chance for the Mets. Snell's first pitch. Davis, a check swing toward the Padre dugout on the first base side. Ricocheted off the front of it, and it's no balls, 1 strike on Davis. Fastball from Snell tied him up. No balls and 1 strike. Davis hitting .247 overall. He's hit a home run this year. He's driven in 10. Really, J.D. Davis of late has started to be a force in the Mets lineup. In his last 10 games, batting .371. 0-1 pitch. Fastball swing and a miss, 0-2. Mets see a lot of high fastballs, and J.D. Davis in particular does. So Blake Snell going upstairs with the heat and getting ahead of Davis. No balls and 2 strikes. Bases full, 2 outs. This will be the 30th pitch of the inning for Snell. Mets trying not to let him off the hook. They've got a runner at every base. Count, no balls, 2 strikes on Davis. Snell ready, gets the sign from Alfaro. Shoulder high set. Right leg kick, his pitch. Fastball fouled back. Snell coming right after Davis with number 1. And J.D. able to stay alive, fouling that one off. Like many of the Mets, Davis has done well with runners in scoring position, hitting .400. He's first on the team in that category. Mets as a team are first in the majors. They've hit .291. Time to shine right here for the Mets in the top of the first. They've loaded him up with a single and 2 walks. They have seen 30 Blake Snell deliveries in this inning. Number 31 on the way. It's an 0-2 pitch coming to J.D. And it's high, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Remember, Snell got ahead of Alonso with that first pitch curveball and then threw 4 straight balls. He got ahead of Canna 0-2 and then threw 4 straight out of the zone. He was ahead of J.D. Davis here 0-2. Now it's a 1-2 count. Got a similar situation here after back-to-back walks.
Snell has now walked 10 in 16 innings this year. It's really the one reason why he's given up runs. He's allowed more walks than hits to this point. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Davis. Snell's pitch. Fouled back. Davis stays alive. Another high fastball. And it's still 1 ball, 2 strikes. J.D. Davis playing first base for the first time as a Met today. Pete Alonso starting to like this whole DH thing. Said his feet felt a little heavy today. Wanted to get off them. So, hey, he can do that and still be in the lineup. Thanks to the designated hitter. And J.D. Davis gets the nod at first. Buck Showalter seems half convinced that J.D. will be just fine. The other half is just like, well, we'll see. The pitch. Breaking ball low. 2 balls and 2 strikes as the curve falls low and away. And another example of the inconsistency in location for Snell with that pitch. We've seen it here in the top of the first. He's bounced a few. That one off the plate, low and away.
There's some stretching happening in the Padres bullpen.
Got to think about it now at 33 pitches. 2 balls and 2 strikes on J.D. Davis. 2 outs, bases loaded. Mets haven't scored yet. Trying to here. Snell ready. The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt. Ball 3. Another curve. And Davis laid off. So it's a full count. Clearly in this at bat, Snell wanted to put Davis away with high fastballs. But J.D. was able to foul off a couple, and now the inconsistent breaking ball has put Snell in a real jam. 2 outs, bases loaded, top of the first. Mets trying to get started early against Blake Snell, who has thrown 34 pitches in the first inning. It's 3-2, the runners will go. Snell a high set, he's ready. Payoff pitch to Davis. Swung and fouled to the right, out of play. J.D. stays alive. Touched that fastball and put it in the upper deck. As the count is still 3-2. That was the 35th pitch for Snell in this first inning. It looks like the Padres bullpen is certainly preparing to get started. Nobody throwing quite yet, but it looks like they're getting close. If Davis reaches, I think they'll get going for sure. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, bases loaded. First inning, no score. Snell with another payoff pitch to Davis. High ball 4. Snell walks in a run. 3 straight 2-out walks here in the top of the first inning. Another terrific at bat by the Mets. J.D. Davis coaxes a 2-out bases loaded walk. He gets his 11th RBI, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
That was a 9-pitch walk from J.D. Davis, and it seems like the Mets are really taking cues from what we saw from Eduardo Escobar yesterday, and that 10-pitch at-bat that really turned the game around. It was a go-ahead sacrifice fly on the 10th pitch after he fouled off 5 in a row yesterday, and we've now seen 3 straight walks, Wayne, in which Blake Snell has gotten ahead of the hitter, then fallen behind, and then ultimately issued a free pass.
Ruben Nyambla is the pitching coach for the Padres, and he's on the mound right now with the entire Padre infield talking to Snell. There is activity now in the San Diego bullpen. Looks like Nabil Crismat, the right-hander, is getting loose. Can't quite tell who that is down there warming up. Well, either way, Blake Snell at 36 pitches here in the first inning might not be able to get out of it if the Mets keep the line moving. Eduardo Escobar is the batter, right-handed hitter, his natural side against the lefty Snell. Escobar hitting .227 this year. He's had a lot of extra base hits, including 13 doubles. The first pitch is swung and tipped into the glove of Alfaro for a strike, and it's 0-1. Against Snell, Escobar's 3 for 9 with a home run. Mets have a 1-0 lead. Escobar, the 7th batter of the inning. Snell has walked 3 of them. 3 men on base right now. He's from the windup here, the 0-1. Fastball inside, ball 1. Snell was not pitching out of the windup in the at-bat to Davis, but with less of a base-stealing threat at third, Less speed there with Alonso instead of Marte. He's working out of the windup again. The 1-1 to Escobar. Line toward right center field. A base hit. Past a diving Cronenworth. Alonso scores. Canna around third. He scores. Ending up at third is Davis. Eduardo Escobar comes through with a 2-out, 2-run base hit. And the Mets have scored 3 here in the top of the first against Blake Snell.
As good as it was to see a bases-loaded walk and the Mets score a run in that situation, it was just even more important for them to make Blake Snell pay for all of those walks. And that's exactly what Eduardo Escobar did. Snell's now thrown 39 pitches, and the Mets aren't done yet.
Jeff McNeil will have a chance against the lefty Snell. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. Eduardo Escobar, after the incredible at-bat he had yesterday in the 8th inning, a 10-pitch at-bat that resulted in a sac fly. Buck Showalter said the dugout was really howling for Escobar. Now he comes back the next day and gets a big base hit as Chrismat continues to throw in the Padre bullpen. We'll see how much longer the leash is here for Blake Snell, who's about to throw his 40th pitch. Here comes McNeil, swings and misses on a fastball over the inner. San Diego against a good Padre team. Up 3-0. No balls and 1 strike. Snell is ready. A high set the pitch. McNeil late on the fastball again, and it's 0-2. 98 miles an hour that time from Snell. McNeil is at 395 with runners in scoring position this year. Keeping the line moving has been such an important part of this Mets offense. Nobody's trying to overdo it. Nobody trying to do too much. Just have a good at bat. The 0-2. McNeil hits one in the air toward the left field line, foul, and out of play. Still 0-2. That's all this team is trying to do. Just consistently have good at bats from one guy to the next. And you really got to think about J.D. Davis's at bat in this inning. 9 pitches, drawing a walk with the bases loaded after falling behind 0-2. Marcana was behind 0-2, and he drew a walk. No balls and 2 strikes on McNeil. The pitch. Ground ball up the middle toward the shortstop, Kim, who's got it. Sidearm throw to first, retires McNeil. And this inning was over at long last for Blake Snell, who threw 43 pitches in the top of the first. The Mets scored 3 runs on 2 hits. They walked 3 times, and they leave a couple. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Mets 3, Padres coming up on the